morning, brothers and sisters. Happy Sunday. Welcome to the National Family Service and Happy Holidays. I hope you all enjoyed your Christmas with your family. And today we're celebrating the last year of 2020. It's going to be an awesome one. Thank you for joining us. I want to invite everybody to pull up your cup of coffee or your tea or whatever you like to drink in the morning. Grab your family and really open your hearts to enjoy this wonderful Sunday service we have planned for you. Let's kick it off with our opening song.
For our opening song, we want to continue the spirit and festivities of this Christmas season. We're going to Maryland to hear the New Hope Band performing the classic song, O Holy Night. Let's sing along with them.
Hi everybody, this is the New Hope Band. Claire Stein on vocals, David Moffat on bass, Frank Groh on keyboards, and me, Dan Pfefferman, on guitar. We're going to do O Holy Night.
Shining, it is the night of our dear Savior's birth.
Wow, that was really beautiful. Thank you so much, Claire and the New Hope Band. Really beautiful, perfect way to start this holy experience of Sunday service. And to continue with that, let's go to our
celebrate him who brought such a close relationship and an understanding to you as our parent. Thank you so much for our president, Naokimi Shiroda, who's been sharing with us a deeper meaning of the different relationships we have as siblings and children and parents and grandparents. And we understand that your ideal is that we live in the kind of world that we all long for, which is a world of one family under God, Heavenly Parents, holy community. Heavenly Parent, it's been a remarkable year, despite the fact that it's been labeled a year of lockdown. We've been able to accomplish so much. You've caused us to use different media to be able to be even more effective to share your love and your truth. And we're so grateful for that and so excited about the future. So we're looking forward to the message you've prepared for us today through our president and through the fellowship we share as your holy community. We offer you this prayer in the name of the Krishna Bless Central family. Amen. Aju.
Good morning. Welcome to the National Family Service.
Our international community was founded by Father and Mother Moon, whom we call our true parents.
True parents have taken up the mission bestowed upon them by Jesus Christ to help us all reconnect and fortify our relationship with God through a deeper understanding called the Divine Principle, and by receiving the Holy Marriage Blessing.
To learn more about our community, just type #Connect on the Facebook chat or sign the guest book on the nationalfamilyservice.org.
On our website, you'll find all the links you'll need for tithing, community meetups, kid resources, and more.
We'd love to hear your ideas and feedback at any time.
Just hit the send message button on our Facebook page to chat with one of our online ushers.
Thank you for joining us today. We can't wait to get connected with you.
Thank you. So brothers and sisters, at this time, we want to bring our local offering and our tithe to the local church. To be able to do that, you can type #tithe in the Facebook comments, or you can go to nationalfamilyservice.org and use the drop-down button to find all the information you need to make your local tithe. While you're doing that, I hope you enjoy both of these beautiful offertory songs.
For our first offering song today, we want to feature 8 members from this past year's STF Europe program and their virtual choir collaboration of the song, Have Yourself a Merry Little Christmas.
Have yourself a merry little Christmas. Let your heart be light. Next year all our troubles will be out of sight. Have yourself a merry little Christmas. Make the Yuletide gay. Next year all our troubles will be miles away. Once again, as in olden days, happy golden days of yore. Faithful friends who were dear to us will be near to us once more. Someday soon we all will be together if the fates allow. Until then we'll have to muddle through somehow. So have yourself a merry little Christmas now.
Thank you for that wonderful song. For our second offering, we have a virtual duet by sisters Ji-sun and Sunwal Reiner, singing the song, I'll Be Home for Christmas.
Merry Christmas!
My name is Ji-sun.
And I'm Sunhwa.
And we'll be singing I'll Be Home for Christmas to celebrate this holiday season with you.
We want to dedicate this song especially to the families who can't physically be together this season, like our own.
But we know that love can transcend that, especially during this time.
So please enjoy and stay safe.
I'll be home for Christmas. You can plan on me. Please have snow and mistletoe and presents by the tree. Christmas Eve will find me where the love light gleams. I'll be home for Christmas, if only in my dreams. I'll be home for Christmas. You can plan on me. Please have snow and mistletoe and presents by the tree. Christmas Eve will find me where the love light gleams. I'll be home for Christmas, if only in my dreams. If only in my
Merry Christmas, everyone.
Thank you, Sunhwa and Ji-sun, and thank you, STF Europe. It's pretty amazing that we get to welcome people from all over the world to perform here in our National Family Service. Thank you so much, everyone, for your offerings and your tithes. At this time, I have the honor and the privilege to be able to welcome our main sermon giver this morning, our National President of Family Federation here in America, President Naokimi Ushiroda. We're really excited to hear from you today, Naokimi.
Okay, good morning, brothers and sisters. Thank you for joining us for the National Family Service. Yeah, exciting today. It's right after Christmas, and there's a few things on my heart I'd like to share with you all. So if we start with review from last week, we started with actually a third of a 4-sermon series on the 4 realms of heart, and we talked about the conjugal realm of heart. So just for a brief review, we talked about how a true conjugal realm is meant to be exclusive, that you are really meant to love your spouse, your husband or your wife exclusively, not to share that love. At the same time, conjugal realm is supposed to be expansive, meaning you can experience all the 4 realms of heart in that relationship with your spouse. And finally, the last point was about how to invite God into the most intimate relationship with your spouse by really focusing on giving more than receiving, and really in emotionally connecting over physically stimulating each other. So those were some tips on how to really grow this important realm of heart. So today, we covered in the past 3 sermons, the children's realm, the siblings realm, and the conjugal realm. And today we're going to cover the parents' realm of heart. And just as a reminder, here at the Heavenly Parents Holy Community, really to simplify our main mission is about really understanding and receiving God as our Heavenly Parent. And on that foundation, to practice these 4 realms of heart within our family so that God's love can be felt, and share that with the rest of society and the world. So today, in this 4th realm of heart, the parents' realm, let's explore what that's about. So we have a quote here from the Mother of Peace on page 230. A husband and wife who believes in the sanctity of love and fulfill their responsibility accordingly are practicing true love. True love makes us true husband and wives who, after giving birth to sons and daughters, grow to become true parents. So, yeah, it's important to note that all of these realms of heart build off of each other. So really the foundation of the conjugal realm of heart, of truly loving your spouse, this sets the foundation to now enter this realm of giving birth to a child and being able to love that child. So how do we develop this parental realm of heart? Let's find out. So let's read here. Finally, what is the perfection of the parents' realm of heart, and how is it accomplished? The status of parents is granted in the moment the couple's first child is born and lets out that first cry announcing its arrival. So important tip, looks like the first step is having a baby. Seems obvious, but let's continue. A couple gives birth to and raises a child as a creative act that allows them to experience through the relationship with their child as their object partner an eternal joy similar to what God experiences. They take on the glory of being a second creator acting in God's place. This is a passage from Father Moon back in 2005. So it's interesting what he's saying here is that we become like God when we create and birth a child. In one sense, we are like gods to our newborns. We basically provide everything, and when they cry, they're completely dependent on us. And so we are kind of like in the position of God to our children. And we do everything to prepare a safe environment. I remember when I was preparing for my children, we had to get the crib, and we had to, how do I say, babyfy, like, round all the corners and buy all those cute baby clothes. Like, there's so much preparation, the car seat, to prepare for the child. And that's the same exact thing that God did when creating us in the very beginning, Adam and Eve. How much all of creation was prepared to create an environment for humans to be born. So this is really the essence of parental love, is learning to love unconditionally as God does. Okay, this is the first point about parental love, is learning to love unconditionally. So let's read here. Then what is true love? I love this passage, by the way. This is one of my favorite quotes. Its essence is to give, to live for the sake of others, and for the sake of the whole. True love gives, forgets that it has given, and continues to give without ceasing. Again, a passage from Father Moon. You know, on paper, this sounds really nice. In reality, it's a bit more challenging. Anyone who's been a parent would probably understand, but for those who aren't, let's try to break it down for you. Imagine a loved one. So let's say it's not just anybody, but a loved one is asking you for food every 2 hours. Okay, maybe not so bad. What if that friend or that loved one asked you to wipe their butt every 2 hours? Okay, a little bit strange, but maybe if you love them enough, you'll do that. What if that loved one, instead of asking politely, screams at you at the top of their lungs every 2 hours, demanding to be fed and having their butt wiped? Okay, now that sounds pretty extreme. Let's take that another step further. Let's say that loved one does this not every 2 hours just during the day, but throughout the night, wakes you up by screaming in your ear that they want to be fed and their butt to be wiped. Well, that's kind of what it's like when you have a newborn. I remember you know, this is a quote I shared several times in different workshops, but you know, before I got blessed in marriage, I thought I was perfect. My wife made it very clear that there's still many more areas to grow. Still working on that. And before I had kids, I thought I was patient. You know, as a in the first couple months as a new dad, I remember no one really prepared me for this. I mean, I had intentionally, you have to understand, like for me, I intentionally, because I was raised up in these values, I intentionally prepared myself in many ways, you know, to be a good son and to kind of get along with everybody and love my wife completely. And I felt like, you know, all this was preparation. But when I had my child, the first challenge I noticed was, you know, I used to be the main, you know, partner for my spouse. But after my son was born, my son became number one, right? Which makes sense. But the problem was there was no number two. Everything was about the baby. So there was no love coming back those first 2 months. And that was hard. And no one warned me about that part, right? But I remember after a month, I came back from work, and I remember coming into the apartment and hearing like loud crying noises, but it was like mixed. So I quickly ran into the bedroom, and I saw my son on the bed crying and crying out loud. And then on the other part of the bed, my wife was also crying out loud. And I remember, like, vividly remember, like, running to the bed, holding my son in one arm and trying to console my wife in my other arm, and like asking myself, you know, what did I get myself into? But yeah, it was tough, you know, and I realized that being a parent is really this incredible practice of loving unconditionally. So whether you're ready for it or not, your heart will be forced to kind of stretch and grow, to be able to give and forget that you've given and then give some more. This is truly kind of the essence, I believe, of parental love, where you constantly need to give love. There are a couple other key elements of parental love that I want to also mention here. Here's a quote from Proverbs, a verse from Proverbs chapter 3, verse 12. Because the Lord disciplines those he loves, as a father the son he delights in. This is a kind of an interesting passage. It talks about disciplining those that you love. So it's more of a kind of a strict or a hard kind of love. And yeah, a key element of parental love is that it has this dual aspect of both a fatherly and a motherly aspect of love. So yeah, a couple quick stories. So one time, I remember, this is also early in my parenthood, I think my son was a toddler, and he was, my son was trying to get a toy on the bed, and he was really short, so he couldn't quite reach the toy. And now that I think back, I think I might have purposely put that toy right out of his reach. Yeah, that's probably what I did. Anyway, so he was reaching, and the only way he could get to the toy was if he was successfully able to climb onto the bed. So he would lift his leg and it would kind of slip, but he would keep trying and keep trying. And then he would get so frustrated that he started crying, because he wanted that toy, but he couldn't reach it, and he was trying. And there I am on the side, like just encouraging him. You got this, you can do this. And then my wife comes running from the other room and looks at the situation, and she's like, "What the heck are you doing? Can't you see he's crying?" And he picks up my son and consoles him. And I was a little defensive. I was like, "What? I'm training him. I'm preparing him for the world." So I noticed that there is this difference in kind of nature, in terms of there is this kind of fatherly tough love, kind of where really want to prepare, challenge, help your children grow. And then there's this motherly aspect that just simply wants to embrace, care for, protect, console. And I felt like I was able to kind of experience both of those realms. Another quick story was very similar, but my son was also a little bit older, and he was trying to kick the soccer ball into the net, and he kept missing. And I remember, I don't know, it was like I felt like I really wanted him to succeed, and I remember him saying like, "Oh, I can't do this," but I kept saying like, "No, you got this, you can do this." And I feel that many times in our lives, we give up on ourselves. We stop short. And but a coach, a parent, God as a parental figure, your own parents, how much they want to really encourage you to be able to go beyond what you believe is possible. So yeah, I just want to really convey that spirit, that heart, that that your parents, God as your parent, really wants you to succeed in anything that you do. And that they're behind you, cheering you on all the way. So that's kind of a second aspect of parental realm, is this both fatherly and motherly aspect of love. And finally, I'd like to share about, parental love being very unique. That this other aspect of parental love is that we need to learn to love each child uniquely. And one time I was traveling quite a bit, doing some kind of speaking tour, and I was away from the home for quite a while. And on the way back, I felt like I needed to get something for my kids. So I decided to stop by at a Cracker Barrel, and I was looking for different, toys that I could get. And so I found something that I felt my daughter would love, and I found something that I thought my son would love. So I came back home, and they're in bags. So I opened it up first for my daughter, and then voila, there was this huge pink unicorn, almost as big as she was. And she was overjoyed, immediately hugging and, bringing it to the bedroom and sleeping with it. And so I really felt like she could experience love through receiving this soft, cuddly toy that she could sleep together with. And then for my son, I knew that, probably dolls wouldn't cut it. Even some Legos and other things wouldn't do it. So I thought hard, and then I decided on something. And what I brought out was this big box of Nerds. I don't know if you know. It was literally like 2 by 3 feet box, and it had small packs of Nerds in there. And his eyes went so big, and he was like, "Oh my gosh." He was so excited to see that. And of course, my wife was like, why did you get so much candy? I think my parents even were criticizing me for my choice of gift, talking about how it's not good for the health and that kind of thing. But looking back, I definitely don't regret that, because, more than the gift itself, I felt it was the memory that was created, that sense of awe and the sense of joy from the children. Kids grow up so quickly. These days they're 12 and 16, and there's not much that impress them, But when they're younger, if you find the right kind of gift to stimulate and excite them, the memory that can be created is so precious. So I want to encourage, it might feel like you're spoiling them, but it's that memory of that uniquely being loved. That's what matters. So, really by exploring this parental realm of heart and this season of Christmas having just passed, I really wanted to also apply that same kind of heart towards some historic figures. If we understand how much we love and invest in our own children, and if we also understand that God is our heavenly parent, how much do you think God wants to love each and every one of us as God's children? We grew up believing, God loves us all the time. But why is it that we don't feel God's love all the time in our lives? So I want to go into a few verses to help us understand this point. Originally, God was to be the true parent of all human beings. When we examine human history, however, we see that because of the fall of Adam and Eve, the first ancestors, humanity, lost God. For thousands of years since that time, people have lived as orphans without being aware of it. Continues. Why has human history been so full of grief and sorrow? It is because we lost a true teacher who was to teach us the heavenly tradition, and lost the true parents who are to bequeath to us the eternal true lineage. So what this passage is saying is that God wanted to love us from the very beginning. But due to the fall, there was a disconnect where the first human ancestors rejected God. And so as much as God wanted to love, there was a mistake that was made that really separated our ability to feel God's love in our life. And that's why there's so much grief and sorrow in history, because of that initial disconnect that we had with God. So if we look at the course of Jesus, if we understand why God sent Jesus on earth, you could imagine after all these years, he was trying to set the right conditions to allow for a true son to be birthed on earth again in the position of a second Adam. Whatever mistake was made by Adam and Eve, he wanted to send a messianic figure to be able to restore that original mistake and stand in that position again. So how joyful was it for God at the time of Jesus's birth? How long God waited to be able to send Jesus as his only begotten son. And if you think about what did Jesus do during his time, he really introduced and related to God as a father figure. I know in the Old Testament there are verses that reflect that, but mostly the relationship between humanity and God was that between kind of a judge, a God of law, of rules. But Jesus really emphasized beyond the laws, beyond the rules, that God is a God of love, that God is a parental figure, a father in heaven. So really, Jesus's role, one of his significant roles, was to reintroduce our original relationship that we had with God as a parental figure. Whereas since the time of the fall, really there was such a disconnect that we felt God as a distant God, as a master-servant relationship. It just wasn't this kind of realm of love, But Jesus, again, he was able to introduce God as a parental figure. In one sense, he modeled what it meant to be a true son of God. And that unlocked and opened the doorway for the rest of humanity to also be able to start to relate to God in such a way. Another significant thing that Jesus also did was he modeled true siblings love. He was able to really love humanity, others, even those who persecuted him. He was able to model what it meant to be a true sibling, to really love each person despite their misunderstanding, to love them as God would. There's one verse, though, I really felt compelled to kind of delve deeper into. There was a moment in Jesus' course where in Matthew 26, Jesus prayed, "My Father, if it is possible, may this cup be taken from me, yet not as I will, but as you will." And having studied Christian theology, I know that one of the more common ways that this passage is understood is that this was reflecting a moment of weakness for Jesus, that he was afraid of dying, scared of death, and that's why he was asking God, can this situation pass from me so that I don't have to be crucified? But I feel like this is a severe misunderstanding of Jesus's heart at this time. That actually what Jesus was saying here was that he knew, as a son of God, he knew that what God really wanted was to create and establish his kingdom of heaven. And not only was he meant to model being a true son and a true sibling, but he was meant to actually model also being a true husband and a true parent, and to be able to really leave a new legacy where God's love could be felt in families based on that foundation. So when he asked God, please let this cup pass from me, he said that because he knew how much it pained God to have to send him to the cross at this time, and that God would have to wait another 2,000 years or another long period of time before he could fulfill his original intention. So as a filial son, Jesus, it pained him to his heart that he was asking God, is there any other way where we can make this work? But unfortunately, the conditions were not enough. There was faithlessness among his disciples and the people, and he had to go the way. And in the end, Jesus was still able to make the ultimate sacrifice and condition the highest quality of love, which is why Christianity flourished afterwards. Let's read. As the Last Supper approached, Jesus comforted his disciples, saying, "I will not leave you as orphans. I will come to you." This passage condenses into a few words the path I have walked. Even though all human beings have parents, as we have wandered throughout history without knowing God or the true way of life, we have felt like orphans. So this is where, the role of true parents come in. Let us continue to read. The 6,000-year history of humankind, he prayed, was the anguished course necessary to receive the true parents. That Jesus could not become the true parent was the sorrow of all people, but the day of our engagement ceremony was the blessed day that finally relieved that sorrow. This is from the Mother of Peace. So what I want to kind of convey here is that, Father and Mother Moon really inherited this heart of Jesus. Jesus actually appeared in front of Father Moon at the young age of 15, imploring him to continue the mission, to really, get to the next realms of heart, beyond just being a true son and a true brother or a true sibling to humanity, to really enter into this final stage of conjugal realm and ultimately parental realm for the rest of humanity. So Father and Mother Moon, they inherited this heart of Jesus for God and also modeled true conjugal love, as well as sharing the blessing to others so that they can also stand in the position of true parental love. True love is the most important factor in creating a happy family. My husband and I bless the marriages of couples of all races, nations, and religions and provide true family values education for the sake of creating families of true love. This is from Mother of Peace. And really, if you think about the significance of really marrying people from all different races, it's really bringing the human family together into one family under parental figures. And this is exactly what God had wanted from the very beginning when he created Adam and Eve. So this is really Father and Mother Moon modeling parental love. So, these four great realms of heart that we talked about over the past 4 weeks, I want you to understand that they're only possible because of the historic figures who modeled the way. Jesus really embodied for the first time a true child. As the only begotten Son, he modeled being a true child and a true sibling by expressing the ultimate love for his brothers and sisters, for humanity, through his sacrifice on the cross. And on that foundation, Father and Mother Moon really received and inherited that role as a true son, as an only begotten son and daughter, by really inheriting the same kind of heart of absolute faith, love, and obedience to God. And they also practiced the same kind of sacrificial love towards humanity by going through endless persecution, similar to the level of what Jesus had to go through. And on that foundation, they also was able to model true conjugal love of absolute commitment to each other, centered on God, and also parental love, where they're able to love people from all races, all nations, all religions. I don't know of any other public figure who have traveled throughout the world over and over and over again to touch the heart and share the marriage blessing to as many, and the truth and the principle to really liberate humanity's heart and reconnect humanity to God as a heavenly parent. Therefore, really for the first time in history since Adam and Eve, based on the example of Jesus and Father and Mother Moon, we are able to now pursue and practice these four great realms of heart centered on God. So brothers and sisters, how blessed we are to really have received this blessing and be able to experience God's love more directly in the family through practicing these four realms of heart. So how should we console God's heart? Really, if we understand God as a parent longing to connect with each of us as his children. A quick story. I was on a missions training program for a couple of years, and I was asking God, what do you want me to do? I can do anything you want. Do you want me to continue doing missions, or do you want me to go back to school? And my parents wanted me to go back to school. Some of my peers wanted me to stay on the missions. So I was kind of in a crossroads. So I really asked God, and his response was, whatever you decide to do, I will support you. I was like, thanks, God, but I wanted a clear answer, one way or the other. And then, so I did another kind of condition where I prayed for 21 days, 7 minutes or 21 minutes every day to get an answer to this question. What is it that you want me to do? And in the middle of that condition, another answer came. And this time, the phrase that surfaced was, there are many people who are more capable than you are. That was an interesting start to that statement. But anyway, I guess he needed to humble me. But he said, there are many people who are more capable than you are, but who among them are doing my will? And the tone of the voice was very somber, kind of sad. And I remember feeling my heart jumping out and like, whatever you want me to do, I want to be there. I want to be someone who can support you in whatever you need. This experience happened over 20 years ago. But I know that every time I face struggle and challenges, I come back to this point of experiencing that kind of closeness in heart with God, that I want to do whatever it takes to support God in his will. So I know that many of you have experienced the same, and I know that, Jesus, even Father and Mother Moon, they experienced this heart of God, and that's what kept them going through all the challenges that they had to face. And I want to encourage you, everyone that's listening, to try to tap into that personal relationship with God. Try to uncover the deeper heart that God has, this sorrowful heart that's longing to connect with each one of his children personally and help bridge that gap that most people still feel in their relationship with God. Just the final few slides. Parents have a duty to nurture their children and prepare them to marry in a manner consistent with God's will. Parents are responsible to protect the pure and good lineage that Satan will never again be able to accuse. This is the only way to reestablish the position of the original parents that was lost at the human fall and perfect the parents' realm of heart. Why is purity and lineage important? We don't we sometimes worry about being too strict or too judgmental, but really the heart behind, protecting a pure lineage is to allow God's love to flow more freely in the family. When your heart has been torn and has been misused, then it's harder to really freely feel God's Spirit in your relationship. And that's why purity and that's why lineage is so important. When true parents, true spouses, and true children form a peaceful family, happiness follows naturally. No matter what difficulties come, the parents' heart of love for their sons and daughters should never change. So having said that about the importance of purity, no matter what your children did or didn't do, we as parents are like God's representatives on earth. And so we must continue to love each of our children unconditionally. In one sense, we are God's arms and legs. We are the vehicles through which God can touch people's hearts. And so we need to try to model that kind of love that God has for each of his children. So as a recap, really developing your parental realm of heart. Number one, it's about learning to love unconditionally. This takes practice. Also to love as both a mother and a father would, sometimes embracing, sometimes more strict, and to learn to love each child uniquely, based on their needs, their interests. And ultimately, if we can tap into understanding that God is also a parent towards us, that we can work to comfort God's heart by sharing this blessing and practicing these 4 great realms of heart in our family. So, brothers and sisters, let us really develop this parental realm, practice loving our children unconditionally and uniquely as God's done, and let's console God's long-suffering heart for us, just as Jesus and just as Father Moon, Mother Moon have done, by continually sharing his love, God's love, and sharing these realms of heart within our family and society and beyond. So I'd like to leave you with a reflection question. How can I love my children and others from God's perspective this week? And again, this is not an absolute, but for those who want to challenge this week, try caring for someone as God would want you to this week. Reach out to somebody that maybe you haven't talked to in a while and really see them from God's viewpoint. Try to touch their hearts. And for an extra challenge, for those who haven't done so yet, try attending morning devotion live on Zoom at least one time. I think it'll be a new experience for you. So with that said, thank you for listening and attending today. That's what I like to share about the parental realm of heart.
Thank you, President Nakimi. Really sincere and authentic message. Thank you for sharing about the parental realm of heart. So blessed families, let's take some time to reflect on the question that President Nakimi has prepared for us, which is, how can I love my children and others from God's perspective this week? Let's take a minute and reflect. Thank you, everybody, for taking that time to reflect. And now I'd like to welcome some guests to join us to offer their live reflections and introspections after President Naokimi's sermon. Please join me in welcoming Dr. Thomas Ward and Mrs. Alexa Ward. Dr. Ward is the president of UTS, and Mrs. Ward is the vice president of WWP International. And please also join me in welcoming Alexander and Yana Johansson. Yana is the director of Blessing and Family Ministry here in the USA. Thank you for joining us this morning. We'd love to hear all of your reflections from your couples. Let's start with the Ward couple, Dr. Ward and Mrs. Ward. Please share with us.
Thank you, Kaylee. Well, it's so good to be here and to be able to share. Thank you, President Naokimi, for bringing the parental realm of heart so close today, for making it so real. Honestly, you are really blessed with a gift to make very complex concepts simple, real, and close. I think the one point that I would make, and then turn it over to my husband, is that link between unconditional and unique love, that they really go hand in hand and need to be very, very close. And that's a very important lesson for me moving forward. So I plan to work on that one. Turn it over to my husband.
Thank you very much, President Naokimi, for a very, very inspiring and touching message. And a number of things come to me. First of all, I still have in my mind that picture of you on the bed holding your wife and your baby. Quite amazing. And I'm thinking about the things that went into your heart at that time. And also, I want to thank you for reminding us about the importance of the personal touch in all that we do. This brought to mind to me an experience that I had with True Parents many years ago that I'd like to share just briefly about. Many of you know that Reverend Moon spent 1 year in prison in Danbury. He didn't have to go to prison. He could have just gone back to Korea, but he said, I'd rather go to prison, even though it was very unjust, the reasons, no time to talk about that here. He went because he said, I have to continue my mission in America, therefore I'm going to stay here. One day I received a phone call and I was asked to come to Danbury prison because there were two important people who were going to be there. There were two ambassadors. One of them was Ambassador Jose Maria Chavez, many of you might know, who worked closely with our movement for many years and was connected to Latin America. The second was a French ambassador. His name was Maurice Robert. He was responsible for all of France's activities in Africa. And I was asked to go to serve as a translator there. I went to Danbury prison and I was stunned because you see True Father there and he's wearing a military uniform, basically a military uniform that was passed on to him, basically a very, very humble and used and probably worn by I don't know how many other people before that, wearing tennis shoes. And everybody was seated at picnic tables. And the only refreshment that Mother could offer, Mother was very, very, very gracious. The only refreshment she could offer to us was just Yahoo chocolates, you know, and we were sitting there at this kind of like a picnic bench with True Parents and with these two ambassadors. And Father just was so excited to see them. The circumstances around him were unbelievable, but he was just so excited to see them. And he poured his whole heart into each of them. He spoke to Ambassador Robert and talked about the important role that Europe had in relationship to Africa. And then he turned to Ambassador Chavez and he spoke to him about how the voice of Latin Americans in the United States had to become stronger to lobby for the situation of what was going on in South America and Central America and other places. He just was filled with enthusiasm and care just about them. He poured his whole heart into them. And as we ended our meeting, Father and Mother came and they greeted us and we walked back down from Danbury towards our car. And as we walked back towards the car, Ambassador Chavez turned to me and he said, you know, Reverend Moon is in prison, but he is a free man. That's the point. The parental heart can free anyone. And thank you for reminding us about that today, Pastor Naokimi.
Wow, thank you. Incredible insights from both of you, helping us dig deeper to really understanding the parental heart and how it can really change our whole perspective on our situations and our life. Thank you so much. How about Alexander and Yana? Would you like to share some of your insights and reflections from today?
Yeah,
So thank you, Kelly, and thank you, President Naokimi. It's come to mind. It's like parental love, as you said, it's growing, and it's always growing. Yeah, in the beginning, you don't start knowing how it is. So you could say, like, when you get your toddler, your baby, you get into this stage of a toddler parental heart. And as they grow, your parental heart is also growing because, as you said, you have no one has prepared you. So no one can prepare you because everyone is unique and everything is different. Our hearts is also unique and different and needs growing. Yeah, really see that also together with my own kids. There are, always room for more growing, and you really have to give unconditionally and keep giving, even though it's hard.
Yeah, we were definitely laughing and enjoying Naokimi's stories, especially the mother and fatherly type of love and situations and growing. I think that's huge. So, I think just like Alexander said, I feel it's amazing parental love. You do have a lot of growing in these stages. And it's also what I feel so deep about, and now Kimi was sharing at the end, the blessing and the whole concept of blessing, because it's bigger than just us. It's really inviting God into our family. And a lot of times when we're trying to grow and figure out how to love unconditionally, I rely on true parents' words or prayer and connect. And we learn a lot about God from being a parent and from our children. So yeah, just feel very grateful. And it was an awesome sermon.
Yeah, thank you, Alexander and Yana. Our kids are similar age, so I definitely understand the challenges and the growing that comes along with that. Thank you to the Ward couple and the Johansson couple to share their reflections. And brothers and sisters, I want to remind us again about the challenges. These are action steps that we can try to practice to implement what President Naokimi was sharing about today. Let's take a look and remind ourselves about them. One is to care for someone as God would want you to this week. And the other is to attend morning devotion live on Zoom at least once this week. So let's do our best to challenge ourselves to keep growing and learning more. And at this time, I would like to go to our closing prayer to wrap up this wonderful service we had. Let's welcome Mr. George Kazakis from the LA Family Church for our closing prayer.
Please join me together. Our dearest God, our parent in heaven, God, we are just humbled by your incredible grace because you've never given up on us, always believed in us. And God, now that we have this simple but deep revelation that you are our parents, then now, God, we want to respond in kind and respond to your will completely from love and the heart of Hyojung, filial son and daughter. We thank you, God, even for the good times, and God, we want to thank you for the adverse times because we know that's what can mature us, because we know, God, that's your heart. And we thank you for this journey and for this understanding of your heart today. Reporting in the name of Georgia and Christina Kazakis of Blescentra family. Adieu.
And for our closing song, we're welcoming back the Liverpool Lads from Nutley, New Jersey for a special holiday song they have for us.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. We're the Liverpool Lads, and we're all excited that Christmas is coming. And hey, Paul, what are you hoping to get for Christmas? Me? Peace. Wow. How about you, Ringo? Me? Love. Impressive. George? Harmony. Wow. How about you, Roger? Well, me? Well, to be honest, I was hoping for a new guitar. But no, forget that. I hope for goodwill to all men and women. Yes. So here's our Christmas song, and I hope you'll all sing along. So this is Christmas, and what have you done? Another year over, and a new one just begun. And so this is Christmas, I hope you have fun. The near and the dear ones, the old and the young. Very Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. Let's hope it's a good one without any fear. So this is Christmas, for weak and for strong, for rich and the poor. The world is so long, and so happy Christmas, for black and for white, for yellow and rose. Let's start from the high. Very Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. Let's hope it's a good one without any fear. So this is Christmas, and what have you done? Another year over, a new one just begun. And so happy Christmas, we hope you have that you want. Later the dear ones, the old and the young. Very Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. Let's hope it's a good one without any fear. War is over if you want it. War is over now. Merry Christmas, everyone. Happy holidays.
Thank you so much, Liverpool Lads. It's always wonderful to see you guys performing together. Brothers and sisters, I hope that you had a great experience on this Sunday service, our last Sunday service of 2020. And if you did have a good experience, I want to invite you to make a donation to support this incredibly hardworking team. You can go to nationalfamilyservice.org and click the Give a Coffee button, or you can type #coffee to support this team just for the price of a cup of coffee. And as always, we hope that you can take time to join your community meetups to discuss the sermon, discuss the message, and really apply it to our lives as we connect with our local community. Thank you, brothers and sisters. We hope you have a wonderful week. We want to wish you a Happy New Year.
Happy New Year!
Goodbye.
Thank you.